believe in the newbie. I believe that it does really great work to the nervous system, helps people to get rid of pain, helps them rebuild strength safely. I believe in all that. So I'm not going to devalue that price. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I know it's a lot, and, we're going to do this 50% thing. No, that's not going to happen.
I'm Garrett Salpeter, and I believe that the most powerful and transformative way to help people recover from pain and injury, heal from trauma, and reach their highest levels of fitness and performance is to focus on the nervous system. In this podcast, we'll share knowledge from the frontiers of neuroscience and inspirational stories of how applying that knowledge has empowered people from all walks of life to heal, adapt, and grow. Welcome to the NeuFit Undercurrent podcast. I am joined today by Mark DeAnda, a physical therapist and owner of Optimum Physiotherapies in San Antonio, Texas. I had the good fortune of getting to know Mark about 6 months ago. We met at a physical therapy event, and he has brought on and started using the newbie. And I've gotten to chat with him over that time and hear his experience and his perspective and his passion for how to sell cash-based services inside of a physical therapy clinic setting where there is also some insurance and traditionally more. And I think he has a wonderful take on that subject and was really excited to have him come on and share that. So thank you so much, Mark, for joining us.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Heck yeah. Just so everyone can get to know you a little bit, can you share with us a bit about your practice and staff and the types of services you're offering there?
Sure. My wife and I, we started an outpatient clinic here in San Antonio, beginning of 2015. It was, myself and her and, one other person. We handled, just about 100% of federal insurance. And we practiced with the old model of marketing to physician offices, begging for patients, just for the scraps, I guess, because a lot of them were pushing their patients to their own clinics or to clinics that they had some kind of ties with. So very much, it was not a system that was for us. And around 2017, we started to go into more direct marketing to the people and offer more types of services not offered by insurance. And around 2018, we doubled our numbers. And since then, recently, we had our best year ever during COVID. And we have a staff of 10. We offer a variety of cash services, and we still help people with federal insurance and insurance groups, but we are very much a 50-50 cash and insurance reimbursed clinic. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So of the 10, how many are other physical therapists, techs, admin staff? Mm-hmm. What's the mix there?
Well, we got 3 therapists working the floor at any given time. We'll have, technicians, 3, I call them movement specialists because they got a 4-year degree in kines, and, they're trained by me, and they're also certified in other systems that we use. So, but, I consider that a specialist in movement that we offer. And we have administrators too. We have 3 working on 5 administrators. So
good for you. That's awesome growth, and having gotten to know you a little bit, it's not surprising, but I just have a ton of respect for you and what you've been able to achieve there, and want to acknowledge that. Thanks. So excellent work. In making that transition from 2015, when you were 100% insurance based, to now, what were the challenges in converting and starting to offer some cash based services?
Well, first off, fear. I think any change, it's scary. And if you go into private practice, I think you have a little bit of an appetite for fear, more than what most people are willing to take on. So that was definitely one of the first challenges. There's a lot of self-limiting beliefs, that you had to get over. deep within yourself, right? Your psyche, right? And the marketing, the marketing is important. But I would even say just on the conversation level with my clients, that is very important. You have to go about it the right way, one that, doesn't come off like, a sleazy salesman, but one that comes off as what we are. We're healthcare professionals and we want to help our clients. We generally want them to get better and to hit their goals. But, how do you go about having that kind of conversation, effectively and sincerely without coming off salesy? That's a fundamental thing too.
So walk everybody through. I think some people will relate to that, but for some it might still be foreign. So
Yeah.
can you just, to set the stage, can you walk us through what's the scenario? So a new patient comes in,
Mhm.
you do an evaluation. What are you even trying to have the conversation about in terms of like what are you
That's
trying to
right.
offer them? And then we'll get into how you have that conversation. But can you just kind of tee it up for us too, so everyone's on the same page?
Well, when they come in for your evaluation or assessment or whatever it is that you call the first visit, because some people call it a free screen, some people call it discovery visit, some people call it an evaluation. I would think most of the people that are still very much insurance based, they're only doing evaluations, right? But it really starts with the tone. You got to come at people with a tone that shows excitement and shows curiosity as to how I can help you. I can't be so excited. I can't be so. I'm just so excited to understand, how I can help you the best way I can, with what I have to offer, and use that tone throughout the whole assessment, throughout the whole evaluation. That's crucial, as opposed to having a tone that's not much with the same conviction, that's not so enthusiastic. Your referral says you need some therapy here. Okay, so we're going to try this for that has to go. You have to be you know eager to find out how we can help them in the best way. And just really defining what's their situation. And that's kind of an evaluation, right? You want to know, what's their range of motion, what's their strength, functionally, what are they doing? But say it, and let them also be a part of it. Let them say it, let them understand where they're at. That's crucial. And then just understand, like, what are their goals. Really talk about their goals and really understand the drive of those goals. And if that means asking how you feel about your situation, how do you feel about your goal and getting there, that's a very good question. I think it's a question that's not asked a lot, Garrett. How do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about your goals? And I think you'll be surprised when you start asking your clients that. You'll be surprised about the reaction that you get from people. It was surprising to me. But once you have emotion on the table, I think people are much more interested on what you have to offer, as opposed to you just kind of just not going through the evaluation the same way. You just confirm you have the script. Don't get me wrong, that's powerful. Coming from a medical doctor or orthopedic, a script to a physical therapy office, that transfers authority to the therapist. That's great, but it's not all. That we need to do more than that. We need to do more, and doing those things, I think, is crucial, and that'll really move towards them getting on the same page with you and agreeing to your plan of care that you want to that you're putting together for them, which is the best plan of care, right? We're doctors of physical therapy. It's who better to know how to rehab them but than a doctor of physical therapy. So them agreeing to our plan of care is exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And independent of whether you're billing insurance or charging cash, I think that's wonderful advice and should be, really everyone's mindset
Right.
going into any sort of evaluation or assessment or free screen is
Mm-hmm.
asking questions, finding out what somebody wants. And that's really an example of leadership. Part of first of all, I think it's important that we think of that therapist patient relationship, or coach and client
Mhm.
relationship as an element of leadership. And if we're going to lead someone, we have to be leading them to some destination. And so we have to figure out what that destination is in the first place. And then
Right.
part of leadership is also, like you said, laying out the plan of care, helping to, either the therapist, oftentimes, like you said, the therapist is the expert, make some recommendations, but working together to figure out their goals and kind of co-create that plan. If they're
Mhm.
involved in co-creating it, they're going to buy in a lot more. So that's awesome. You're tapping into some really,
I mean, it sounds super like, it sounds almost textbook, right? But you would be surprised, how how far people may come away from that, and not forget, we can't just assume like these clients, or these patients walking in are just gonna, you know, do what we say because we're the physical therapist. No, we need to get some emotional investment in the conversation. We need to draw that out of them. We need some verbal confirmation. All of that is crucial, and that puts them on your path to complete your plan of care, which includes your cash services.
Mhm. That's awesome. Yes. Very, very good. So then you're having this conversation with them, asking them questions,
Mhm.
identifying their goals, and then you go through an evaluation. And then when you present your proposed plan of care, is that when you'd mention some
Absolutely.
blend of insurance-based services and then some cash-based services, right?
Absolutely. Yes. You go through your evaluation after the conversation goes on, and you're writing your thoughts down for your plan of care, including your cash services, right? You're completing all that up, and then you just take the pressure off of you. You ask them, hey, you ready to go through this plan of care? I think I have something for you. And then you present it to them. You show them, of course, your physical therapy plan of care, which is your foundation, but also special tools that are very important, which may include some cash services, and how this is super crucial. And then you get to go back, talk to their emotion, talk uh, to their overall outcomes that they want to achieve. And this is what we need to get to there, this physical therapy foundation. But we have these special therapies as well. That is crucial, vital. And talking with that conviction, again, that tone, Garrett, has to be throughout the whole conversation, as 100% certainty. Like, this is the way we're going to get there, being the bridge to those goals that you want to get to, and then show them I show them the price. Let me tell you, I had so much. You could tell. You could ask Sonia later, but I fought that. I fought that so much. I didn't want to show prices. I'm the physical therapist. I'm not going to talk about finances. But who better to talk about finances with when they have so much certainty, right? And and we should be viewed as like fiduciaries, right? Healthcare fiduciaries. Like, that's what we are. So who better and who more trusted to talk about that than us? So yeah, I talk about the prices with my patients. I say, hey, this is what the special therapy newbie is, and I highly, I 100% believe this is going to help you get to your goal. We can start today,
Mhm.
And with that, I just shut up. Honestly, and that's tough because we can continue to ramble on about our credentials and how we're so smart. And I mean, we are, what we do. It's a very small, little bit of little information, right? This physical therapy knowledge, right? It's compared to the world knowledge, right? But we know a little bit about this one category. Um, but we don't need to be talking about blabbing on about that. We just need to talk about, like I said, talk about their outcomes that they want to get to, talk about their emotion, so verbalizing that, and play to that tune. And I think you'll see the results with being able to sell more cash services for sure.
So if I can kind of reflect back and try to summarize some of the main points here,
Mhm.
would you say that a big part of it is really mindset? And I love that you use the word fiduciary, where fiduciary means
Yeah.
that you are beholden to give this client, patient, customer the options that are best for them, independent
Yeah.
of your own financial interests.
Right.
So that
Which is shit. I mean, like that's like number one, right?
yeah.
Like that's what we are.
Hmm.
That's ethically what we should. Anything we recommend to our people, our clients, should we with that intent, right? That's just um that's what that's nothing else besides that. That's what I'm trying to say is like we have to keep that in mind. Like we're not selling, excuse my language, a bunch of stuff, or not saying that word, but just saying stuff that doesn't work. What we're trying to sell is their buy-in to our plan of care that we 100% believe that it's going to help them get to where they want to get to.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So I think that's a really good way to frame it up. And I'm so glad you used that word, because then
Hmm.
that's sort of like the first domino. If you go into interaction with the mindset, identifying as, look, I am the fiduciary, I'm responsible for making the best
Yes.
recommendation for this person. I think
Yes. Hmm.
that then is the first domino that triggers the next ones to happen, where I am going as part of that. Then I'm going to have to ask them questions to understand really what their desires are, what their targets and goals are, and learn about what their constraints are that may inform this decision making process about what we offer. So there's a really good mindset there. So that plays into then asking questions and listening. And it
Right. Listening
also,
more. I would say listening more than asking,
mhm,
and but still asking why, like
mhm,
having that word a lot is
mhm.
super important. Like that word, probably that's the one word you should use a lot. Why, and just go deeper and deeper into, um, those things that we were talking about for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then once we've listened and we formulated the plan, then the next part of being a fiduciary is being able to genuinely, authentically provide our recommend for you to be able to provide your recommendation. And if that
Hmm.
includes cash-based services, then you want to be
Right.
able to you want to be able to recommend those.
Without assumptions. Without
Mhm,
assumptions is crucial too, because um, you know, I was guilty of doing that a lot. When we had initially bring on cash, I would just assume, right, for whatever reason, that this person couldn't afford what I was recommending. If those assumptions are on your mind when you're ready to present, I mean, it's gonna go south. No, you gotta just keep that out of your mind. You're not helping anybody with assumptions, and you don't know how important it is for these clients to get to their goal. You're not in their head. You are not them. You don't know their financial situation. You don't know if they have backing financial. You don't know any of that. So keep those assumptions out of your mind and just present what you believe will get your clients to their goals. If that includes cash services, say it with that conviction, without those assumptions in mind. That's the best bet.
awesome. So that's
Mhm.
another good mindset shift, is just get those assumptions out of our minds there.
Yes.
So that's good. So some really good key points in terms of the mindset and how we show up to these
Mhm.
interactions, how,
Mhm.
for therapists listening to this, how they show up, because that many times is the key indicator, or the key determiner of how effective the interaction goes and how
Mhm.
effective you are as a therapist. So I think that's really good. I'm so glad you started there with those key mindset shifts: being a fiduciary, asking questions, identifying goals, getting rid of assumptions. And then
Mhm.
um, let's talk uh, kind of tactically, a little more in terms of when you're actually having those conversations. Are you just introducing this plan, saying this is the plan of care, or are you ever using a good, better, best scenario? Or can you talk a little bit about the practicality of how you're presenting options?
Well, one thing I don't do. I try not to devalue my services, and I try to set up my patients for success. Like those two things I'm trying to keep in mind. So whatever it is that you're offering, whether it's, physical therapy, needlework, or physical therapy with the newbie, keep in mind like that frequency and that duration, set them up for success. Set them up that they're going to get to whatever they need to get to truly, based on who they are, their conditions they got going on. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm not going to devalue pricing either. I believe in the newbie. I believe that it does really great work to the nervous system, helps people to get rid of pain, helps them rebuild strength safely. I believe in all that. So I'm not going to devalue that price. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I know it's a lot, and we're going to do this 50% thing. No, that's not going to happen. And I did that initially, but I started to realize, I think that that's not the way to go about it. If anything, I would start high, with your recommendations, whether it's a couple of months or maybe a month of, working with the newbie. And then if they want to, you can give them maybe an option. I don't like to give them too many options, because then they start thinking about their time, their schedule, and then all of a sudden they're going into their more logical mindset and not so much their emotional mindset. So I just want to make it easy. So I'll give them my recommendation, whether it's a few months or a month of special therapy instead of physical therapy, or I'll make a recommendation that I know they'll get some relief, but they won't get to their goals. So maybe a week of newbie training or physical therapy, and I'll say it, look, I get it, this is new for you, and you just met me, so try it out. And I'll give them like a trial run. But I said, really immediately, when you start to see results, and I'll play to that tune as they're going through their trial, I'm there too, and making sure that they realize what's going on here, and helping them make that transition to that full plan of care that I really think will help them get there. And just being honest with them as well, like, you're not going to get to your goals in this time period, but it will help you with pain. It will help you with decreasing this, this limping you got going on. But immediately, when you start to understand what's happening here, you really need to commit to this goal, or to this full plan of care, so that you can get back to, going to your hikes, or go back to getting ready for your, rock climbing expedition this summer, or whatever their goals are. But continue to play to that tune is crucial. And catching them early on, I think, as well, during that treatment is very important, because there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot going on, and they may know a big reduction in pain, and catching them during that excitement, say, hey, look, you're doing great. I can see you're not limping anymore. You have less pain. Let's just credit you what you've already paid for with this trial to your full plan of care, and let's just commit to that full plan of care. That's an easy transition. It's an easy, especially when you can show quick results, which the newbie does. I mean, I've seen guys that were totally in a, locked up, inflamed situation with their lower back, and then some work with the newbie one day, and, they're walking with a lot less pain. They're feeling better about their situation. Don't lose momentum with that. That's the time. That's the time to get people to commit. When we can show those quick results, that's the time to get them to transfer to the full plan of care that you want for them.
Have you picked up your copy of the NeuFit method yet? In this book, Garrett helps you reconnect with the nervous system and improve outcomes at every stage of rehab and fitness. Based on Garrett's proprietary NeuFit methodology and newbie technology, the solutions in this book will introduce you to a framework for overcoming virtually any physiological challenge. Take the first step in enhancing recovery, boosting performance, and optimizing health in ways you never thought possible. Now available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, or Kindle. And now back to the show.
That's awesome. Yes. And
Yeah.
that is one of the things that we hear a lot. I'm so glad you mentioned that, about how when people notice changes quickly, they're motivated to want to continue to comply with the plan of care. So that's a big differentiator.
Mhm.
Some people might be wondering, because of that, do you ever give free trials or samples of the newbie, or do you ever do anything like that?
You know, we did initially, Garrett. Um, but sometimes, well, I think that does two things. I think that opens the door to people that just want free stuff, and then that also goes back to devaluing what you're doing. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's this technology that that we have at the clinic. You know, it's stuff that we really sought after. We really did some homework. We went to around the nation looking for the best tools. I mean, and it's not cheap. No, so you know, to devalue, say, hey, you know, here's a free um here's a you know, a free trial. I mean, I kind of feel like that it was my job to show value initially. And if I'm to the point where I'm starting, excuse me, I'm starting to say, hey, let's do a free trial. I didn't do my job right. I didn't show value. I didn't talk about how it's going to help them to get better faster. I didn't talk about how it's not going to hurt. Their pain's going to be less. I didn't talk about, you know, um, enough about whatever their desired outcomes are going to be. I didn't talk about, you know, how certain I was that this was going to work. But all that, you know, that's crucial. If you do that right and you do that um, thoroughly with that initial conversation, then you know that the value shouldn't be a price, because it's gonna dwarf that value. Excuse me, it's gonna dwarf the price, and the value will be up there. Excuse me,
Mhm.
the value won't be dwarfed. The price will be dwarfed, but the value is gonna be super high.
Yes, and if you give it away, the perception of that value is lower. And I think that that's good what you said. I mean, as physical therapists contemplating charging cash services at all, I think a lot of people have those same fears and limiting beliefs that you mentioned. And I think it's important to remember, like, you invested the time and money to
Right.
get the PT degree and license, so
Mhm.
you should be perceiving yourself and charging as, more than a personal trainer or someone who doesn't have your credential. Or, I mean, you should, that plus, if you've invested
Excuse me.
the extra
Mhm.
time and money to learn the NeuFit method, acquire a newbie device, I mean, you're making an investment there that
Mhm.
is legitimately adding significant value to your
Right.
patients, and you can and should be able to receive more value as well. So I think that's a great mindset shift. Um, in terms of just trying to think about what might be on the minds of some listeners, and um, one other question that I think may come up is how you're actually doing this. So with the newbie, is it only a cash service? I mean, is it ever included in insurance in your practice, or is it always a cash service? And is that just an add-on, or is that instead of insurance based, or is it an add-on? Can you just talk about kind of how you
Yeah.
structure it at your practice, and then
Yeah.
with the qualification that we're not giving compliance or legal advice to anyone else, right? We
Right.
just want to hear an example
Yes.
of how you do it.
Yeah. No, I'm no legal compliant consultant. I leave that for my people here in Texas. Mary DuLong, she's great. We use her. Um, we offer a variety of special therapies that are not covered, right? The newbie is one of them, and we have it strictly apart from our physical therapy covered insurance services. And we make it very clear, this is what's covered by your insurance. These are things that are not. If we put these into practice, there's going to be a price, and we have our price sheet for whatever those special therapies are. But that's it in a nutshell.
So, so you've so you've drawn the line in the sand that the newbie, it just is like dry needling that we talked about. It's not covered
Right,
at your practice, and anyone who wants it is going to have to
right. That's
pay
gonna
cash for it. Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. That's gonna have to be your, I guess for the private practice owners that are listening, that's going to have to be your inquiry. You're going to have to inquire that with your consultants. You're going to have to inquire that with your state board there in whatever state you're in. And you're gonna have to make that decision with the laws that are in place and your legal consulting. I highly recommend getting a consultant for compliance. That's very important. You don't want to be double dipping, things like that.
Yes, and so you've made that distinction. And another part that's important there is, there are people who will make the case that using the newbie is neuromuscular reeducation. However, there are people, as you described in your practice, that you are making the case that it's not covered because there is no code exactly for the NeuFit method and the newbie device. And one of the keys there is that however you apply it, is that it's consistent, so that there's no discrimination either, that you're applying it, you're not including it as an insurance base for some, charging cash for others. So that's then the next piece. So the fact that you've made that distinction and you're consistent across the board is another important piece of it there. So the practicality. So that's great. I really appreciate your description of the mindset, and then kind of drilling down into how you're actually describing it. When then just to kind of clarify that too. So when people are signing up, would they, in the same visit, would they do NeuFit treatments and also any insurance-based physical therapy, or would those be totally separate visits? Can you just tell us a little more about how you actually do it?
Well, I mean, you and your training, you have the initial evaluation, the scanning. That's crucial. You got to know their points of pain and try to eliminate that. So if I could start that day, and I can give them that option, we can start today. That would be ideal, right? But sometimes people don't have an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I'll say, well, we got to schedule it. But before we schedule, we gotta have some financial commitment, right?
When you say they don't have an hour and a half, that means it's not like it's normally the whole visit is that, but that's if you've done your eval and then they would stay and then do the newbie after that. Okay, yeah, just to clarify.
Exactly. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. You cumulatively, you're looking at an hour and a half visit, maybe 2 hours, right? Because they're going through your assessment, your screening, and them going there at their office, doing all that paperwork, right? So they may not have that time, but if they have to reschedule, it's vital that they have some financial commitment, because if they don't have any skin in the game, there's a very good chance they're not coming back. I would say that's more probable than them coming back. So getting them on the books requires for them to purchase, their recommended newbie treatment plan of care in full. Yeah. So but ideally I would like to see them at least for the scanning, but if that's not possible, then scheduling with the payment of the services. Yeah, it's very important.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I just had a meeting with my staff over that, because I did notice that. And sometimes you may get some surprises, somebody may come back, but I would say the majority of the time, if they don't have their special therapies paid for, they won't come back for that second visit, or that first visit technically.
And then when they come back, are they only doing that special therapies visit? Are they only doing a NeuFit treatment, or would they do that, and would they do some other of your other PT offerings, or how does it depend on the plan of care?
No, the plan of care, it's the first day of their plan of care is crucial. So going through their training with the specialist and all the manual work is very important as well. The newbie, it's a tool, right? As well, we have to use that, and the scanning is important. So we have time with that. It's really just contingent upon the schedule. If we have sometimes, with the newbie, it brings a lot of excitement, right? And there's a lot of people that are using it. So maybe if there's somebody using it, we may want to reserve it for the end. But perhaps if it's open, then we'll use it from at the beginning, and we'll have time with that training. And then once that training is done, that scanning is done, then we move on to our other crucial things we got to do, which is, mobilizing joints, stretching muscles, relearning movements, balance work. And then of course our manual work therapist. I hope that the therapists are watching, they're still using their hands and they're not using that, what's that one gun that like, it looks like a
Oh,
gun.
the Hypervolt or the Theragun, like those
Yeah,
guns.
that like, just like, I'm not, I used that once on my elbow and it really hurt. And ever since then, I'm totally like, no Theraguns.
You're gun shy around it now.
Yeah, I'm kind of gun shy.
Yeah.
But it's just it's contingent upon the schedule. It's just whatever the availability is. That's, but it's very much separate. It's not going to be it's not going to be the treatment. It's all itself. It's the training with the newbie that's so special, that helps people get to that place with no pain, and then eventually, like what you talk about, how it helps them with their strength gains as well.
So when a patient who's bought this extra package of NeuFit sessions with you, when they come in to use that in one visit, they very likely, it may vary, but they very likely will do their NeuFit treatment. And then either before or after that, they may also do some covered services, other manual therapies, or other things that would be covered by insurance. They'd be doing both. Absolutely. The cash pay and the covered services in the same visit.
And maybe they have to do some needling as well. Maybe they have to do some needling around some very stiff joints, and they may be doing 2 special therapies. So it's contingent upon the plan of care. And I've even had 3 special therapies. So it really depends on the plan of care that you're trying to do, and what you have scheduled. But schedule those out. Schedule out those special therapies the way you would schedule out a plan of care, and have in your mind, how this patient is going to progress throughout the week, throughout the month. And what you don't want is for them to buy, a whole, plan of newbie, and they do it once or twice and they never use it again. It's been a month later. You don't want that. You want to exhaust that. You want to use that, and just make sure that's crystal clear and you have good planning. It's very important.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So that's good. I think we've gone through and done a very thorough discussion of the mindset, and then how to kind of structure the offering, how to have these conversations. Is there anything else, knowing your own process and mindset, is there anything else you feel like we really should add in here to complete the conversation, or any other elements here? That
for the newbie owners and the private practice owners that are starting to do cash services, I challenge you to speak with a more a tone of conviction, and just have that tone, and just really try to get them to verbalize their desired outcomes. I think if you just do those 2 things, you'll be surprised at the end of the conversation, what they're willing to commit to. And I challenge y'all, try to do those 2 things. Use more tone of conviction and more certainty, and then really define those desired outcomes, and continue to speak in that language of their desired outcomes, right? Because we could talk about ourselves all the time, but they don't want to hear that. They want to hear about them. They want to hear about their goals, about their dream outcome that they want to get to, and what do we got to do to get there?
That's awesome. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. For anybody listening, if they want to check out your practice or look you up, learn more about you, what's the best way to do that, Mark?
Y'all can email me if y'all want to schedule a call to talk more about this. Mark at optimumphysiotherapies.com. You can just holler at me, and I'm open to any of my colleagues if they want to talk more about this. I actually talked to quite a few here in Texas, so I'm pretty passionate about it, I would say.
Awesome. That's very gracious of you. I appreciate you giving out your email for listeners. And so if anyone's interested, that's Mark, MARK, at Optimum Physiotherapies, PIES therapies.com. And that's also his website URL domain too, if you want to look up his practice. Got a great practice just about an hour away from us in Austin. He's down in San Antonio. And I appreciate you coming on, Mark, and sharing your wisdom and passion with everybody. And it's a great topic. I think this will really inspire a lot of people to look at how they're having intake conversations, and also how they're structuring their offerings, and think business, think about interpersonal interactions with patients, and all these different things here. So I think it's really wonderful, and thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, Garrett.
Heck yeah. Loved having you on. Have a great day. And thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Undercurrent Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Undercurrent Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date as we release future episodes.